Hi, this week in the Horsepower Lab, you are going to pick 3 different exercises and you're going to do each exercise for 60 seconds. While you do those exercises, you're also going to have to count how many reps or how many times you were able to do them in the 60 seconds. Alright, on the assignment, once you get underneath the instructions, you're going to have a chart that looks like this. Right here, white where it says activity 1, 2, and 3, you are going to write the activity you chose. Okay, there's lots of different options. The first one is lifting a hand weight. So you can go small, 1 pound. You can go 2 pound, 3 pound, 5 pound, 10 pound, whatever you have at home. You could bench press if you have that at home. If you have a kettlebell, you could do that. And if you have none of those things and you want to do this activity, you could just pick up a soup can. If you look at the soup can, it will generally give you the mass in grams, and then you would just have to convert that to kilograms by dividing by 1,000. Okay, when you take that weight, you're going to set your timer. You are going to count the amount of time that you can lift it up and back in your 60 seconds. So you're just going to sit here and go like this as many times as you can in 60 seconds. All right, you're going to record how many reps that you're able to do right here. Okay, you will also need to know the distance that things are traveling. Okay, so if you are lifting a weight, you need to just measure, and you might have to use a tape measure or just a ruler at home, and if you do, it's probably in feet, so you'll just have to divide by 3.28 to change it into meters. You would just put the meter stick right where your hand is. You would then pull it up like that. For me, that goes exactly to 0.5 meters. And then you would double it, because when you do a rep, it goes both up and down. All right, so you just measure the distance up, multiply that by 2. That would be 1 rep is equal to that many meters. When you have how many meters it is, you multiply that by the total number of reps that you were able to do it in the 60 seconds. That will give you the total distance that used for that exercise. Okay, let's say you don't pick a weight. Let's say you choose step aerobics. Just pick a stair. You're going to go up, up, down, down, up, down, down. To measure the distance, you would just need to know the height of the stair. Okay, and then you would count how many times you were able to go up and down, multiply the height of the stair in meters by the number of times you went up and down it. If you're going up and down a flight of stairs, you would just need to lay a tape measure out to figure out the total distance that you're going when you go up and down. If you do some of the other ones, like push-ups or sit-ups, okay, you then are just going to, we're estimating here, if you're in push-up position, you are just going to measure from your hand up to your shoulder, and then that would be the distance that you would move through space when you do your push-up. So for me, once again, that's about 0.5 meters. You go down and then back up in 1 rep, so I would have to multiply it by 2. My total distance would be 1 meter for every rep, and then you multiply that by how many push-ups you're able to do. Same with sit-ups, not an exact science, but you're going to sit on the ground and you're just going to measure the distance from your shoulders to the ground. Assuming that you go down and back up, you'll multiply that distance by 2, and then you multiply it by however many reps you did. If you do jumping jacks, your feet move out back and forth. You're just going to measure the distance from when they're out from end to end. Jump rope. If you choose to jump rope, you don't go that far off the ground. You just put your ruler or your meter stick or whatever you have at home, you put it on the ground, and then you have somebody look to see every time you jump. If they just look at one of them, how high off the ground did? Let's say it's 10 centimeters, that would be 0.1 meters. You then would multiply it by however many times you were able to jump rope in that 60 seconds. Okay? From there, that is how you find the total distance. Has to be in meters. For the mass, it has to be in kilograms. Most of the activities involve you. So you're going to take your pounds, whatever that is equal to, divide it by 2.2 and change it into kilograms. The only activity that doesn't do that is when you use a weight. You would use the actual pounds of the weight, change it into kilograms by dividing by 2.2. In order to solve for the force, you need to take your mass from this column and you need to multiply it by negative 9.8. We are using our acceleration of gravity because for each of these exercises, we are working against gravity. It's not perfect, but it works pretty well. To find the force, it's like a big domino. You just keep working your way down the chart. Once you know your force, you multiply it by your total distance, and that will give you your work in joules. Once you know your work, if you divide it by the 60 seconds, the time, it gives you your power in watts. And finally, if you shift down the assignment, the very last column is changing your watts into horsepower. A reminder on your equation sheet that 746 is there. Okay, you will work your way through. It just starts at the top and works its way down for each of the different activities. And when you're done, you'll be able to see what your horsepower is for each of those activities. You will compare it against the world's strongest man. He is in competition. He was able to clean jerk for a horsepower of 5.84 horsepower. You probably won't get anywhere near that, but maybe you'll get close in that 60-second span. Finally, if you need help on the back side, problem number 1 is just a conversion. James Watt is the guy who came up with a horsepower. He actually hooked up a horse to a grinder and made it pull around in a circle, and he measured how much force was able to have happen and how much work and power that horse was able to do. He measured it, though, in our old English units, in a pound times a foot divided by a minute. And he got it to be this 33,030. Okay, we don't want to leave it in that. We need it in the metric system. So we have to convert it into a Newton meter over a second. Okay, that involves 3-step conversion. You got to get those feet changed into meters. You got to get minutes changed into seconds. And finally, you have to change pounds into newtons, and I gave you that conversion factor. The other two you know or are on your equation sheet. Okay, once you set it up, if you get everything in the right spot, you will get an answer that looks really similar to a number for horsepower. So it'll be something that you recognize. All right, hopefully that helps you out with that. These don't have to go in any order. You can do them out of order. You just have to do all 3 of them in order to get to the correct answer. The very last problem is a horsepower problem. You did a few of them on the problem set earlier in the week, and we did a couple on our notes. So use that to help, or else take a picture and submit it to me via Remind. So I hope you enjoy it. Try to get you a little bit active. You don't need much. You just have to find something in order to do some activities at home for 60 seconds apiece. Thank you.